Hey, this is Jim from Mass Movement here for Crazy Jim's Cheap Ass Video Show with a good friend of mine, Scott Bazar from Barkers of the Wrong Tree, and of course the lovely Franklin. Alright, I've known you for a long time. You've played guitar for a long time. What made you decide to play bass with Barkers?
Just the opportunity to write songs for the entire group, affecting the rhythmic qualities mainly. And at the time, our current bass player had left for various reasons.
Yeah.
And someone needed to fill that void, and I've been playing with Wayne for about
20 years.
Yeah, now going on 20 years. I figured nobody would understand that more or be connected that way, so I decided to take up the bass duties. And I always enjoyed playing bass here and there, never formally studied, and it was kind of a relief to not have to worry about being a bass player and playing bass.
Okay. And you and Wayne have played together forever. It's surprised me a lot of times with his background that he actually has, not only played with you, but followed along with all the ideas you've had. It's been, he's been very into all of it, very open-minded.
Yeah, very, very fortunate to, and he's been a great teacher and friend, and very, very indispensable. And I'm very grateful that anybody will help me explore any of the wacko ideas that come my way. I know what it's like to, not have the type of support that I've been.
Yeah, and I'm sure I know from speaking to you that for a while you didn't have a lot of that. Did you intend to have bass, drums, keyboard, guitar, or is that just how everything came together and it felt right?
Initially, it was for bass, drums, and guitar, and then I started hearing some other parts in my mind, and then my good friend Carl Beard started working around the same place. Got him a job at Garment Gear where I work, and so he moved back into town, and since he played keyboards and I've been playing with him for years, it kind of just made sense, and I could hear parts for him, and that offered more opportunities to work with the dynamics of the band and stuff and try out things musically.
Now, was that ever awkward bringing that in, or was it more organic, like great?
Yeah, it was super organic, yeah. And we had all been playing together for years too, through Pico and stuff, and
That's true.
And doing little offshoots here and there, mostly on the improvisational level. So yeah, it was all very natural and stuff. And but that being said, too, like every single piece challenges everybody in a different way every time. Sometimes some songs are nice, but most of them aren't.
Yeah, you got a certain level of abrasiveness there, but it's always, the layers always come together in a way that's interesting, and I don't always know when one song begins and then ends, but I always enjoy what I'm hearing.
Yep. And like in terms of sometimes I'll write with them in mind, and then I'll put them into situations that will kind of challenge their aesthetics in a sense. And myself included, so it's cool. It's like it's fun, but at the same time, I'm still exploring and seeing how much more I can see with each.
Yeah, you've always been a sonic explorer. From the time I met you, you were well versed in those types of things. Who are some of your biggest influences? Experimental or otherwise.
Sheesh. Now it's changed. There were like the usual ones that still continue to inspire me from decades before it, and now it's more. I'm getting inspired by the people I'm meeting and the lives that they're leading, the work that they're producing, and their drive and stuff. And then so now I'm having like countless heroes and stuff, and
that's awesome.
And now I'm like drawing inspiration kind of like from the world around me and stuff, and I still get excited every time a new Zorn composition comes out, and
That would be John Zorn for those of you not in the know.
and things like that. But really, I think it's for the people I'm meeting nowadays, and there are just so many amazing people, young and old alike, and it's really cool to see how damn smart a lot of the younger generation is coming up, and like, yeah, it's I really dig seeing that, and I think that's one of the fortunate side effects of performing and just going out and seeing the world, traveling and as much as can, and you get to see that, not just maybe what's going on in your neighborhood, but like in other neighborhoods, and what the potential of places are and the people.
And you've done a lot of improvisational, improv fests for music over the years, and I'm sure you've come across a lot of very interesting, not just people, but techniques and styles and homemade instruments and.
Yeah. All scientists, and yeah.
Well, you and your dad, the late Stephen Bazar, you guys basically were the local experimental scene for a while until his passing, and then everything else that has sprung forth really has come through you. I mean, does that ever feel weird to think about that, or is it flattering, or do you just does it even cross your mind to think about it that way?
I don't really think about it too much, and I think, well, and there were things that were going on. I think simultaneously at the time and a little bit before I arrived, but like certainly like, and I just keep pushing to get more people doing more things and bringing more ideas in. But I think in one way, like, I can't accept too much responsibility for it. But in another way, yeah, or but that it's really cool that there's more of that now than when I first.
And when we first started doing Hypnox, it was pretty much us, and then other people started to come out and be confident.
Resonate at one point, and it was really cool. That I think that was inside of everybody and just needed somebody. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, he's all right.
I
just needed a spark to get that flame going.
Yeah.
We had a lot of interesting groups come through Bay County, or out of Bay County. We've had times where things are real big, and then they've ebbed, and then they get big again. But right now, it seems like more people are open to it.
Yeah.
You okay there, Frankie?
Yeah. God, sorry.
He's all right. He's a good boy. Pico Dorado you mentioned earlier. I know what that is, but for the sake of our viewers, explain a little bit about that, how it came to be.
Pico Dorado is a conduction animated piece, sort of like a video game for improvising musicians. And there's videos are projected on the screen with specific instructions with the characters for the players, and each player is given a color, and they follow the color of the characters that appear on the screen that go through different type of evolutions. And there's like over 800 different games on the video sampler that I access at any given time. So in essence, I can play a group of 6 or more players as if they were an instrument. And so that kind of came about just always having an interest in animation, and alongside with music, and I wanted to kind of merge the two ideas together, so I wasn't like working in two separate directions, but then they gave me a kind of an arc too to lead with my animations or a direction to go, and a purpose as to why am I doing this, and then and it just kind of grew from there.
Now, from the moment you first had that idea to when you finally got it to what you considered the complete fulfillment of it, how many years was that?
About 5 years, and essentially I filled out the sampler, and
I know you've spent a lot of time with animation over the years. I've seen a lot of it, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it.
And here recently, I've come up with a new system for a new game called Axon, but I've only tried it out once so far, and it was pretty cool. But I think I need some more time before I want to implement that.
So what are the differences between Axon and Pico Dorado? Are they totally different things, or do they tie in a little bit?
They're similar, but it could tie in easy to like one of the rooms of Pico, I think, in a sense. But Axon offers like a little bit more real-time control and more immediate control of the individual players. With like what I have on 12 video screens that pop up, and each one has a different kind of animation on the screen that I can click on and off, and then you have individual EQs for each screen too, so then I can adjust the volume on the fly.
Okay.
And,
so you
speed.
really a lot more dynamics with it.
Yeah, and then so the animations that were used on Pico are now reduced to simple, moving the cursor up and down.
Okay.
And then now more focused.
A little more real time and everything.
Yeah. And so I'm really liking the aspect of that. And also I'm using a whole new system for generating pictures and stuff, and it's a different type of animation and style, and but I'm not completely comfortable with it yet. But it was a fairly successful trial run. But
okay. But would you be willing to walk back into the other room and talk to the camera about all the neat little things you've got going in here? That way we can get a full fleshed out profile of Scott Leonard Bazar. His social security number is, I don't know that.
It is no longer valid.
As you can see in this room, there are very non-traditional things going on here. Most of this stuff is blacklight reactive. All of it is homemade by Scott except the pitchfork and the cake pan that's shaped like Darth Vader. But as you can see, it has been turned into an instrument for improvisational music and what borderlines performance art. So start with this one. I know this is an older one, so let's start there and then we'll work around to the newer stuff.
Yeah, the pitchfork was an evolution from previous instruments from the rake, and from the rake was from a slab of wood.
It was a cello rake. That was an early improvisational instrument back when Scott and I both played in Hypnox.
And so
sorry, just trying to fill in for the list, for the readers, watchers, whatever.
And the cello rake really offered a lot of possibilities. It opened up a lot of things in my mind, and then of course, after a while, that's not good enough. So you start looking for things. What's something
evolves.
Different? What's something and then I thought about the forks and the resonation, the deep resonation.
Yeah, they really make beautiful drums.
Possibility, yeah. And then it was made a makeshift fretboard, and found a bike wheel while I was on pizza delivery that was attached to that metal bar, and
yeah, everything makes its own particular sound that works. And every one of these instruments plugs into amps, PAs, whatever you got. We also, a lot of effects pedals and things so that you can modify the sounds, which Scott can explain probably better than I can, but that's a basic overview.
Yeah. And at one point, I had this thing to scale where I could actually attempt some cover songs on that. But,
awesome.
Real crude renditions.
Yeah, we did a little bit of a Rolling Stones song at one point.
Yeah.
That was on the cello rake still, I think.
Yeah. And that's where those ideas started creeping into the possibilities of doing that all that time. And this one's the pitchfork is still like, people talk about that forever. And it's great, but it's dangerous to travel with. So
that makes sense.
So I went on the first Plutonian Burrito tour, which is a project I do with drummer, percussionist Charles Pagano.
Mm-hmm.
We went on tour with that, and this thing ended up almost stabbing his arm, and I was like, yeah, this isn't too great.
So time for something a little less lethal.
Yeah. And so then it led to a toilet seat and then a wooden toilet seat, and then the wooden toilet seat ended up to that jewelry box, which I call bookend.
Scott, we'll pick up from there now that we're starting a new file.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, then bookend. Did for about 2 tours with that, and then tried to rethink it on other terms for when we're going to go to eventual plans to tour Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, well, okay, what could ride on a bus, whatever. And so then I came up with this box here, so it's something that'd be, very light, portable, easy to travel, and would still have access to all the same sounds. And a few new tricks. And
go over some of the parts for the people who, once again, aren't in the know of the improvisational homemade instruments.
Yeah, so this thing here has you can't really see it too well, and has a contact microphone tucked away in here. And I use, you can build your own, but I've been really enjoying how durable and reliant the Crank Sturgeon contact microphones are. He's an artist who was until recently. Now he's on the West Coast, but he was from Maine, and he really kind of made up the game on contact mic building.
Yeah, I remember we used to have to break those piezo's apart to make the contact
mics.
Mics.
Like these ones are built to last, but basically I just drilled a hole here and put the contact mic and wedged it in. There's a tunable string here that can be bowed.
Using a violin type bow, cello bow, whatever you have.
Yeah. Opens up, you can attach a spring here. It would plug into an amplifier here, but
Now, springs always give good reverb.
Yeah.
Now, is that a cheese slicer?
Yes, cheese slicer and a bread slicer.
Awesome.
And then, so that's like the portable, and everything picks up on a amplifier. While I was building this, though, I saw something that went the entire opposite direction, which is my newest instrument, El Pino.
Is that here in the house?
Yeah. I could do a little demonstration of it, too.
That would be awesome.
Cool. I'll run it through this pedal board here.
All right, we'll follow you, and hopefully Franklin will quit fucking my leg.
So this is El Pino,
Okay.
because of that card I found.
Oh, that's cool.
And I give it to. Well, I didn't want to get this as it's cumbersome to travel with.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's really cool. So
Come here,
I
King
couldn't
Franklin.
stop thinking about it, and went ahead and built it.
You see, you've got an actual guitar headstock up there with a few strings.
So I want to put this.
Looks like a hairbrush. And of course, various springs for reverb. You've got a fishing reel, and I'm burping like a gross motherfucker. You've got an action figure involved.
Yeah. This one is probably like my most musical of them.
Okay.
Yeah. But that being said, I'll just demonstrate some.
You okay, buddy? You shivering? Are you just that excited? Good old Franklin.
Okay.
Good boy. All right, Franklin. It's about to get weird in here. is a certain type of language for this type of improvisation. It's not a spoken language or a written language. It's more a feeling. And when multiple people are doing this together, they learn to kind of flow with each other, or even to be dissonant to the other, but all to create a soundscape that is different from, it's not your typical rock song, metal song, country song. It's more soundscapes than anything, but I've always found it to be very interesting, especially since I met Scott. What else do you have to say? Anything else interesting?
Yeah, there's something I've been working on recently. Like, I've been getting into doing pictures, and so I'm making like these postcards. I take mundane pictures and I put them in my editing program and turn them into crazy things.
I've seen a lot of those come through as you posted them on Facebook, and that is your current profile pic.
Yeah. And so what I'm gonna do is. And I put little QR codes, and you scan it with your phone, and they lead to a video with that represents that card, and
Cool.
And these are like various things around town and
See,
stuff.
I would never have guessed those were photographs of something. They look like a digital art or a multimedia.
Yeah, like this is coming out of the Dollar General downtown. They just took a picture at an angle, and then
that's so very different.
Yeah. So. This is something I'm kind of trying out. I'm going to make like a calendar of this, like over through, all these videos. So far, I got, a bunch, and some of these are rare performances and stuff.
That's very cool. I like the colors on that one a lot.
Yeah, this one is could be R-rated.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, it's got kind of a vagina and butt cheeks look there. Franklin, you're a great dog, but could you please quit licking my knee? I know, you never get attention.
So, current things that,
So that's something in the process. Do you have any other projects that you're working on or that you're willing to share yet?
That's currently it at the moment, and there's going to be a couple of shows coming up here, like at the Fork and Spoon.
Going to be Barker shows, or
there is a Barker show next Saturday at the Zen Garden on the beach.
79 out there.
Yeah, and that might become a regular thing too. So that'd be cool. We'd be doing like kind of hosting a jam thing as well.
Yeah, and that's a different venue than what we've had before too.
Yeah. But then on the 14th, Calliope is coming from Montevallo. She's an amazing vocalist that does a lot of like layered vocals and vocal gymnastics, and just super talented person.
Okay.
And then October 28th or 29th, Period Bomb is coming here.
Now, who are they?
And
that's a new one to me.
Yeah, they're a band out of Miami, and they're kind of like I think they're an all-girl noise rock band, and I played with some of the people involved with that group as solo acts and stuff with different noise fests and events going around Central Florida. And, so they're relocating to Berlin, and so they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're doing like a one last sweep of everything, and before they go out, and they want to stop here, and they're also doing a documentary of house shows and stuff like that, and places and stuff. So that'll be coming up. That'll be like a nice. Hopefully we can get it, as a nice bill for a good hurrah out, And
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, and then I'll be going up to Birmingham in October. A really cool thing has happened is one of my older game pieces, the Catatonic 5, which was a movie that was a step in the direction towards what would become Pico. That was performed at Mills College. Well, not performed at Mills College, but by the students at Mills College. And they recorded that, and one of Joel Nelson actually put all that together. He's a Birmingham native.
Okay.
And he is coming back to Birmingham in October and hosting a performance of one of his graphic score pieces.
Okay.
And I'll be performing on that with Charles Pagano. And so I got some of the files and looked them over a couple times. I still have a lot of work to do, but it's going to be
Everything's
a
a work in progress.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you have important to say to the people out there on the other end of things?
Be safe and stay excited.
Well, Scott, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was Crazy Jim's Cheap Ass Video Show, all videography by Dax Dodge, who I've been flipping off and all that. But thank you, and we'll see you next time.